From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Hey everybody, Nick Monticelli coming to you for Local 4 Live again in Grambling Township for the second day in a row because we continue to follow all of the investigation, what's happening with the victims, the community coming together, and what a motive could possibly be from this tragedy that happened on Sunday morning. I want to step out of the way here and give you a look into what's happening behind me. It's 8 o'clock here on Tuesday morning. Now there are more investigators starting to arrive to start the next day of full investigations. It's obviously normal that they kind of took a break in the overnight hours and resuming now. It was about 7:30 this morning that we started to see investigators start showing back up from both the FBI, the ATF, and some local agencies as well. Something else that's new is this piece of video that I'd like to show you. There were flight restrictions in place for most of the day on Saturday and Sunday, but Monday in the afternoon those were lifted. So we were able to get a drone over the church to give you a better idea of how bad the damage is. And not just how bad the damage is, but also now you can understand why there were people trapped inside the church, because we weren't talking about a fire just in one corner. The entire church was on fire, as you can see here. You also see the suspect's vehicle, Thomas Jacob Sanford, and the pickup truck that is now in the parking lot not far from the front doors where he rammed him. One of the big conversations throughout the course of today is going to be motive. The FBI still not saying what they believe is the motive. However, the White House has said, and sources to NBC News saying that they do believe that this is a religious-based attack. In fact, there was someone who talked to NBC News yesterday, someone who's running for city council, just knocking on doors, and who happened to knock on Jake Sanford's door and have a conversation. All of that, while we're also hearing more from people who were inside the church itself.
Scariest I've ever been.
Paul Kirby was inside the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints when Thomas Jacob Sanford ran this truck through the front doors. Kirby told NBC's Maggie Vespa he was inside with his family.
I saw the gun and him starting to shoot, and I turned and ran. Went back towards the doors. I got a little bit of shrapnel in my left leg.
Then Kirby says parishioners carried kids and those hurt out the back. Minutes later, the church was on fire. A total of 4 people were killed, 8 others hurt between the ages of 6 and 78. A doctor treating the patient says some hospital workers were there for church that Sunday morning.
We had a number of our residents who were members of the church and were on site. Not only were they victims, they were also first responders. And having your friends and family come in injured and taking care of them is a really incredible experience. They were heroes. Those on the scene were absolute heroes, going in and out of the fire to drag people out.
This morning, we now know there were 4 IEDs in Sanford's truck, and despite the FBI not saying anything about a motive, Chris Johns, who was running for city council here, talked to Sanford as he was knocking on doors looking for votes. He told NBC Sanford asked him about guns, then Mormons.
He said Mormons are the Antichrist, and he said it in a very matter-of-fact.
He said Mormons are the Antichrist.
Just like that, deadpan, matter-of-fact.
Sanford's family saying in a statement, "We are devastated. We don't know what to think," calling Sanford a Christian and a loving father, son, and husband. The statement adds, "He was a Marine, and we are completely in shock over this. We have no answers." Back out here live, as you can imagine, again, that motive not something confirmed by local FBI investigators, but you heard that interview. A.G. Nessel was also on CNN saying something very similar yesterday, that she does believe, based on her information, that this was an attack based on religious beliefs and that he had ideologies against those in the LDS community. Because of that, there is now a much larger conversation, as there should have been in the first place, about security in churches. We had an opportunity yesterday to talk to Sheriff Swanson here in Genesee County, who, as you know, is also running for governor. But he talked about the need for more safety in churches, and not just about armored or not just about the entrances, but about some actual planning that needs to happen.
Number one, security has to come from within inside. It cannot all be law enforcement. The heroes that really showed up before the law enforcement, Grambling Township and DNR, were inside that building. So number one, what do you already have in place? Outside perimeter. Who's watching the outside, inside perimeter? Who's watching the doors? Who's watching the children? Do you have comms? Are you able to, if you see something, radio in, lock down those doors? Those are simple steps. And on top of that, active shooter training. There's a reason why at the Trillium, our young kids, those middle schoolers that were going to the theater were as calm as could be, because they have been trained to respond during an active shooter. And when you prepare in peace, you perform in chaos. And so I think churches need to take a reality that, and any faith-based community, maybe during your service, take 15 minutes to speak. If this were to happen right now, what would we do? A lot of times we don't want to talk about it, but that doesn't remove the reality of what could happen, and we saw it here.
And something else to point out here is that in the immediate hours after this attack happened on Sunday morning, there were also multiple bomb threats that were called into other churches throughout this Genesee County and Grand Blanc Township area as well. So I'm sure a lot of those plans and safety protocols were probably kicked in during that time as well. And also the same thing went to Sanford's home over in Burton, which is only about 9 miles from where I am standing. Again, there's going to be a lot of conversation about the motive. We'll hear from the FBI hopefully in the next 24 or 48 hours. However, we have been told that there will no longer be any press conferences from the Grand Blanc Township Police Department. The next updates are going to be just posted on social media and through press releases, but that doesn't mean we might not hear from the FBI. Local leaders, the special agents in charge that are out of the Detroit office, are here in Grand Blanc Township leading this investigation. Them as well as ATF. ATF also the leading investigating agency on the explosives and the fire as well. One of their main parts of training is arson and looking at the fire as well. You should note that there is a massive section dedicated to all of this on our website at clickondetroit.com. We have timelines laid out. We have everything that we have found out about the attack itself, the shooter, his background, his criminal history, which includes a 2011 arrest for a felony charge of burglary. There's also an arrest for drunk driving as well in there. There are multiple pages that you can scroll through to see everything that we have put together over the past couple of days, so you can stay up to speed on what is happening here in Grand Blanc Township. We're going to take a short break here on Local 4 Live. When we come back, Jason is going to take over and talk about the other big story of the day, which is the state budget. Are we heading for a shutdown if Lansing lawmakers can't get it together and have a vote by the end of the day today? If not, tomorrow is going to look a whole lot different in the state of Michigan.
Welcome back to Local 4 Live as we take a look at the Church of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township, or at least the barricades out in front of where the church was. It is a total loss now after 4 people died there in an attack on Sunday. Today, Governor Gretchen Whitmer ordering flags to fly at half-staff to honor the lives lost. The FBI and the ATF will be at the church today to continue that investigation and learn more about the gunman behind the attack. On Monday, police provided an update saying everyone has been accounted for and there is no danger to the public, which means the death toll will not rise any further here. That was some welcome news. Resources are also available at the Henry Ford Genesis Health Club from now until 8 tonight. We are keeping our special section on clickondetroit.com updated with the very latest on this tragedy. It features a story laying out everything we know so far, making it easy to get caught up in one place. You'll find the link right there on our homepage. Take a look at Lansing this morning. Lawmakers getting ready. They need to get some stuff done today. Just under 16 hours now to sign the budget or the government shuts down. Both sides saying they reached an agreement, or I should say they agreed to the framework of a deal last Thursday night, but they haven't voted yet, and there was still a lot of work to be done. They have to draw up that bill. They have to have the conferees, which is kind of like a referee, in the room as they hammer out what goes in and what doesn't. And it's kind of like a house of cards. This could all crumble if one thing goes wrong. Governor Whitmer has until midnight to sign that budget, or as we say, the government shuts down. While many details are still under wraps, lawmakers say it focuses on lowering costs and lowering government or heightening government efficiency. One big part of the deal is funding for roads. That plan sets aside between $1.5 and $2.2 billion to fix the roads. That's about half of what Governor Whitmer and House Speaker Matt Hall wanted. They wanted about $3.1 billion. So how will they get those funds? Lawmakers plan to remove the 6% sales tax on fuel and increase the fuel tax by 20 cents per gallon from 31 to 51 cents. We're told the price of the pump should stay about the same according to the deal. But a main source of the funding comes from a 24% wholesale tax on marijuana. This means the state will get a big chunk of money every time marijuana is sold to dispensaries. The tax is expected to bring in $420 million each year, and that money will go to the neighborhood road fund to fix local roads and bridges. This new tax is lower than what Governor Whitmer originally proposed, but marijuana businesses are worried it could force some shops to close. That's because there's already a 10% tax when customers buy marijuana, plus a 6% sales tax.
It's going to put people out of business, going to cause layoffs. The margins have become so slim. We're already paying huge licensing fees. We already pay a 10% excise tax at the point of sale on top of regular sales tax, and then just the cost of compliance in general.
We proposed a plan that would raise no taxes and would not require any new revenue. But again, this is where negotiations happen.
The industry can cry wolf as much as they want, but at the end of the day, this isn't a tax on working families. This is a tax on marijuana.
School funding and the free school meal program are still unknown. But if you read the tea leaves with some of these sound bites, it sounds like the free meal program money will stay there. Republicans wanted to give schools a larger amount of money and let them spend it however they want. Democrats wanted some of that money directly allocated to the free meal program. Some lawmakers, as we say, optimistic about this bill being passed on time. Others are skeptical, to say the least. They want to see if everything that they want to vote for is there.
I have not yet seen a bill or a bill draft, so I've heard some things that may or may not be in there, but I haven't seen the words on paper, so I'm not exactly sure what is in there in the end or not. We do need to be in Lansing tomorrow on Tuesday, September 30th. I expect to be there the entire day, and I would love to get a chance to read through the probably over 1,100-page bill.
I'm actually very optimistic we're going to get this wrapped up in pretty short order. If we do end up shutting down, it's going to be for, an hours or possibly a day type of thing, rather than an extended period of time.
Well, there are a lot of services that would go away if that does happen. We expect lawmakers to vote on the budget today and get that to the governor's desk for the signature. If for some reason, though, it doesn't happen, things go south, the deal falls apart, you should know some of the services that will not be available tomorrow. Here they are. Well, first and foremost, more than 30,000 state workers get laid off right out of the gate. State parks, welcome centers, campgrounds, historic sites, all would close. That includes Belle Isle, which also could be limited in its access if you're somebody who enjoys a drink now and again. Well, liquor sales would stop, so bars and stores have to hope that their inventory will outlast any shutdown. Road construction stops, so would the lottery. School funding payments would get delayed to schools and universities, so if you get financial aid, you would likely be affected. Government inspections, like on food, those would be suspended. If you need to renew your plates or your license, all Secretary of State offices would close, and there's no online transactions either. But there are some things that would continue even if the government shuts down. MSP will keep patrolling. Payments for public assistance programs like SNAP and unemployment and Medicaid, those keep coming. State prisons stay staffed, and critical bridges like Mackinac and the Ambassador and the Blue Water would all stay open. The good news is you heard Joe Aragona say a moment ago the last couple shutdowns in 2007 and 2009 lasted just hours. So if it happens again, it's likely the same could happen. But in those cases, very few people noticed any of those services because it was so quick. But we'll be watching it. Will Jones is going to be in Lansing all day for us with live updates. We'll keep you updated as to what we learn, of course, on air and online. The state budget is almost done, but now lawmakers in Washington, D.C. are fighting over the federal budget. This complicates things. If that shuts down and the state shuts down at the same time, no one knows what's going to happen here. Democrats want to change some cuts to Medicaid federally and protect health care for people. They also want to make it harder for the president to take away money that Congress has already approved. If they don't agree to a deal by midnight tonight, the government could shut down, and that means delays in customer service, slower paperwork, no food safety checks. National parks would close. Air travel could be affected. Social security payments will keep going, but they could be late. But there are also other things that could happen to federal workers. The military, are they going to get paid and when? It's quite a domino effect. Well, it may be fall, but the heat outside saying otherwise. Don't grab a hoodie just yet. Ashley's tracking the heat in the fall and when we could finally cool back down. Oh, hi. All right. Let's talk weather. Hi, everybody. So in case you didn't know, I told you I'd do this. Took the top off the Jeep because I hadn't done it all summer. Just too many, the rain was spaced out perfectly all summer. And finally I said, she just said 7 days straight, likely no rain. I'm going for it. So the ride in today with high 50s, right around 60.
A little cool?
No, it was perfect.
Oh,
it was fine.
nice.
I was all right.
Nice. All right.
I was very happy.
Well, you don't have to worry about the rain for a whole week. How about that?
I love it.
Might be a little cooler drive tomorrow.
I know. I was worried about that one.
Yeah. You just put the heat on. You know, that's what people in convertibles do as you get in late fall. You still ride with the top down.
Put the heat on.
That's right. So here are those temperatures right now as we are pretty much in the 50s. We have a couple of the outlying areas still struggling to get that 50-degree mark, including Lapeer at 46 and Ann Arbor at 48, but pretty much mid to upper 50s elsewhere. And so we will continue to warm things up as sunshine is in the forecast today. Visibility down to 0 miles in Port Huron. So we have had some dense fog develop as you get closer to St. Clair over there. So just note if that's part of your drive that you could encounter some of that low visibility. But your out the door forecast today, plenty of sunshine, so the sun will burn that fog off rather quickly. 80 degrees for the afternoon high. So here we go again with 80-degree temperatures in the forecast. However, tomorrow, we might not hit 70 in some spots. And so 70 for the high tomorrow, 72 on Thursday. So pretty seasonal to start October, but then we're back close to 80 to round out the week and go into that first weekend of October. All that orange you see on there, those are all above average days. We only had 5 below average days in September and just a handful near average. So we will definitely put this in the record books as a well above average September over in the metro area. Tomorrow, 70 for the high, though I do want to point out that up by, I would say, the lake shore, so from Port Huron up towards Sandusky, working your way in the thumb, probably not getting out of the 60s, just a little cooler by the water. But the rest of us will be right around that 70-degree mark, which is seasonal. 69 is the average high. Hour by hour, day by day, really more day by day, because I got to zoom through this. Thursday, we get some cloud cover, so that will make it feel cooler along with the cooler air mass that we have. And then we push that out. Friday, sun makes a comeback, and we don't have a notable rain chance until we get into Tuesday morning. So that could bump up a little bit, maybe as early as Monday night, or be pushed back a little. But you know that Tuesday is kind of that window, a week from today, where we potentially see the rain. So tracking the tropics real quickly is we have a tropical storm and a hurricane that we've been following, and they kind of dance around each other when you get two systems by each other in the Atlantic like that. So as far as Imelda, well, that's going to be pushing off eastward into the Atlantic, and so that's not going to make landfall. And then as far as Umberto, that will also push north to the east, and that will not make landfall either, but the outlying bands of those, the outer bands, will have an impact on high surf and some tropical storm force winds and rain. But other than that, no rain here until next Tuesday. That 7-day forecast there keeps us in the 80s Saturday, Sunday,
I like the temperatures. And also, didn't we really dodge a bullet without those hurricanes? Could have collided and created like a huge monster storm.
Absolutely, but instead they kind of just were, hung tight right there. I mean, Bermuda got, some of the impacts from that, but here in the U.S. we were really, really lucky.
Thanks, Ashley. We're back in a minute with a Local 4 News update. Stay with us. Good Tuesday morning, everybody. I'm Jason Colthorpe with a Local 4 News update. Today, Governor Whitmer ordering flags to fly at half-staff to honor the lives lost in the deadly attack at a church in Grand Blanc Township. The FBI and the ATF back at the site today, investigating and trying to learn more about the gunman behind the attack. On Monday, police providing an update saying everyone has been accounted for and there is no danger to the public. It appears his motive was his hatred for the Mormon faith. Today, resources also available at the Henry Ford Genesis Health Club from now until 8 tonight. We're keeping our special section at clickondetroit.com open and updated with the very latest on this tragedy. It features a story laying out everything we know so far, making it easy to get caught up in one place. You'll find that link right there on our homepage. Stick around. Ashley's forecast coming up in just a few minutes, and I bet you're going to like it.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Hi, everybody. Even though the graphic says from downtown Detroit, we are live in Grand Blanc Township right now, continuing to update you on everything happening after that horrific attack at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Church here in Grand Blanc Township. Before we get to the investigation, before we get to what's happening behind me, I want to take you to a vigil that happened last night. This is one of many happening throughout our area as the community tries to figure out the best ways to move forward with not only the people here, but their own feelings and their own emotions as well. It's been very difficult, as you can imagine, with not only an attack like this, but an attack on a religion, which we'll talk about the motive here in just a little bit, and an attack on people in this community. In fact, we had the opportunity to talk to some people last night who said that they are doing everything they can, and anything they can, I should say, to be here for those who need it most.
We came to pray for the victims and kind of show the community that our faith is strong, and I think when you have times of tragedy like this, that it's really the love of Jesus that's going to heal people.
Times like this, people are looking for something that they can stand on. When there's tragedy, you feel like you're standing on some shifting sands. And the one great thing about the Bible is that you have right there in black and white the Word of God, His promises, and hope for even the worst of times. And so we had this service, we opened it up to our community to give them a place where they can stand, to let them be comforted by the good news of God's love for them in Christ, and then enable them then to wrestle each and every day with the evil that doesn't just happen one day, in Grand Blanc just down the street, but it's all around us. It keeps on happening, and people need a foundation for their lives.
And again, as I mentioned, people just searching for something, and as he was talking about their foundation, just seeking some comfort in the midst of all of this tragedy and all of this darkness. That's something that Governor Whitmer alluded to yesterday when she was talking to all of us, all the media and everybody here in the state of Michigan, while she also ordered all the flags here at half-staff to honor those who were killed in this attack.
I'm here as the governor, but I'm also here as a fellow Michigander whose heart is breaking by another mass shooting in a place that is supposed to be defined by togetherness and a close-knit community here in Grand Blanc. As a state, we know the pain of this too well. We've seen gun violence in our schools, stores, parades, festivals, and our houses of worship. These are places that we go to feel connected, to feel safe, to be together. But today, this place has been shattered by bullets and broken glass. And this might be a familiar pain, but it hurts all the same. Every time. We cannot keep living our lives like this. I know that this community is reeling right now, and I want you to know that the state of Michigan has your back. Your grief is our grief.
All right, so back out here live after listening to the governor talk about what churches and houses of worship are supposed to be. That kind of parlays into the next conversation about what a possible motive is here. You can see behind me here the blockade still up. Investigators now beginning to start their now second full day of investigating. Just talking to the Grand Blanc Township Police Department, they believe that the goal is to have this completely wrapped up by Friday. It could be sooner, but that's currently kind of the mark in the sand right now, is to have everything cleared out of here in the investigation, at least on the ground, wrapped up by Friday. But really, that's up to the FBI and the ATF. Speaking of, I do want to show you some new video here of the church itself. There were flight restrictions in place, so we weren't able to get this yesterday, but now we can show you what the church looks like and how really destroyed it is. And you might be able to comprehend and understand better now how there were people trapped inside of the church. And that's why 2 people died, because of the fire alone. Now, with the FBI and ATF leading the investigation, they are the ones who will tell us if they find a motive. However, they haven't said, but there was somebody speaking to NBC News yesterday, and the AG, Dana Nessel, also making similar references to the fact that this likely is religiously motivated. There was a person going door to door who's currently running for the Grand Blanc Township City Council, just knocking on doors as they do canvassing, looking to talk to voters and trying to earn their votes. He just so happened to knock on the door of Thomas Jake Sanford over in Burton, and they had a conversation. And he says, he told NBC News, that conversation went from guns to Mormons.
He said Mormons are the Antichrist, and and he said it in a very matter-of-fact.
He said Mormons are the Antichrist.
Just like that, deadpan, matter-of-fact.
I think it's clear that this has all the hallmarks of a hate crime, and I think that as the investigation continues, we'll find out more. But what concerns me greatly is this: we need to make sure that we are working in partnership with, of course, our federal counterparts, as well as our state and locals, to be able to combat this type of domestic terrorism.
All right, and again, she went on to also say that she believes this was a targeted attack against the LDS community, the Church of Latter-day Saints community. There are so many conversations throughout the day happening about what the motive could be. As I mentioned, what's next here on the ground for the church, and also things that happened in kind of at the same time in tandem. The additional bomb threats that were called in. Was that bomb threat at Meyer a dry run for Sanford, since he lived across the street and might want to test the response time? The Michigan State Police looking into that. Just a lot of conversation as this community starts to take some next steps forward here. All of that information that I just talked about is on our website right now at clickondetroit.com. We have an extensive article base up right now, so you can read through everything and timelines and background information on the suspect, the shooter in this case, more about the church itself, a really deep dive into everything that we know so far, so you can catch yourself back up to speed. We are going to take a short break here on Local 4 Live. When we come back, Wanda Walker is going to handle things in the studio for a little bit, talking to the Drug Enforcement Agency and about an event that's happening there, drug takeback, and also some ways that you can get rid of some drugs and prescriptions that they are setting up just for you. We'll be right back.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Getting a live look over Detroit's skyline, where the city is making it easier for people to safely get rid of unused or expired prescription medication. New permanent take-back boxes are being installed at every Detroit police precinct. They will be available 24/7 for anonymous drop-offs of pills, tablets, vitamins, any over-the-counter medications. The goal of this initiative is to help prevent accidental poisonings, prescription drug misuse, even water contamination from disposing of it in ways that you are not supposed to. This comes as the DEA gets ready for its National Prescription Drug Take Back Day, which is later this month on October 25th. Joining me to talk more about it is the DEA
Assistant Special Agent in Charge, Dominic Bracios. Thank you so much for being here, along with Dr. Renee Dudley, the CEO of Youth Connection. It's so great to see both of you.
Thank you.
These drop boxes, which we have one right here in the studio, this was a very collaborative effort to make this happen at every single precinct.
Absolutely. It's a partnership with the community, with the Detroit Police Department, with the DEA. And we've been working together collectively to say, what can we do to make our community safe? And this is a community effort, and that's what's exciting about it.
Can you help us understand the dangers of disposing of prescription medication in ways that they should not be? It's very important how they are disposed of if they're not used.
Sure. At our last take back, we actually took back approximately 16,000 pounds of prescription pills.
Wow.
So you can imagine if each person decides to dispose of those pills, either by tossing it down the toilet or in the garbage, that's a lot of contamination that can end up in the waterways or in landfills and contaminating the land. Or it's also an opportunity, if they don't dispose of it and just leave it in their cabinets, for misuse or for loved ones to get a hold of it.
Yes. I don't have children in the home, but I do have expired prescription medication.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's just something that we all have. And I know we have these drug take-back days that's at, one day a year, but this is going to make it so much more convenient for folks to do it anytime.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week at their local Detroit Police Precinct. And we're excited about that because the other thing is accidental poisonings or overtaking medication with our seniors. So it's a way in which we can, one, responsibly get rid of unwanted, unused, and expired medication.
And you talked about this by the numbers. People are taking advantage of this on those drug take-back days. How important do you think that these drop boxes are going to be for your efforts to keep these away from people?
It's very important. So for DEA, we have approximately 4,500 drop boxes nationwide. Of those drop boxes, we have 180 here in Michigan, and Michigan stands number 5 in the country as far as total drop boxes go. So having this is going to provide a safe year-round method for our Detroit people to have their method to dispose safely of the prescription pills.
Well, they're easy to find, they're big, they're beautiful, they're red. When will they actually be installed?
This week.
Okay.
In every Detroit Police Precinct. So please call before you go. And that we are expecting that Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network is actually our partner and making sure that these drop boxes are available. So they will be installed this week at every precinct. They are at the 11th right now.
Okay.
They're in every precinct.
Wait, where's the 11th? I have my notes here.
It's on the east side of Detroit.
On Nevada.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. But just call before you go.
Okay. And how proud are you of this effort and collaboration with the city of Detroit?
The DEA couldn't be more proud of the commitment from community organizations such as the Youth Connection and the partnership with the Detroit Police Department. They are one of a few that have committed to year-round drop boxes permanently at these locations. And to give an idea of the partnerships, we have 276 partnerships in the state of Michigan with law enforcement agencies, as well as community organizations, prevention groups, and community organizations such as the Youth Connection. The work that Dr. Dudley is doing is certainly saving lives, and we're very appreciative of the Detroit Police Department and their commitment to that effort as well.
Absolutely. Are you hoping that this model can somehow be duplicated in other communities?
We are. So as I said, the 276 partnerships, that ranks 3rd in the country, only behind Wisconsin and Ohio. So we're hopeful if we can get the word out there that more states will take on this type of effort where they do the year-round drop box.
Well, I know you've been hard at work in this community for a long time because I've known you for many, many years, and I'm just so proud to continue to see your drive and commitment.
Absolutely. We made it a competition between our precincts, and I think you covered before the Golden Throne, and this is an opportunity for the Youth Connection awards the Golden Throne to the precinct that brings back the most pounds of pills. Since 2018, just in Detroit, we've brought back over 6 million pounds.
Wow.
So we're on a mission to increase that, to make this statewide, and that we'll no longer be 5th in the ranking here, that we can take out Ohio and then move up the ladder. So that's our goal.
We always want to take out Ohio.
Take out Ohio.
Right. But also this is about saving lives and protecting people and protecting our water supply, and it's just safety all the way around.
And also for our pet lovers, There's an opportunity to get rid of old pills and veterinary pills as well.
Oh, good point.
But, you know, drop a pill on the floor and a dog or cat picks it up or eat it, we want to protect them as well.
So as you say, it's more than just taking back pills. It's about starting conversations with the community.
Yeah.
It's about building public trust and showing that we're not a law enforcement agency simply out to arrest people, that we are trying to protect our citizens and save lives at the same time.
Well, that is a great way to wrap up this interview because that is about prevention and helping support the community as well. Grenade,
Thank you.
Great to see you. Dr. Dudley
Oh, my
and
goodness.
Dominic, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming in. And congratulations on this collaborative effort and getting those drop boxes
Thank you
all
for having
installed
us.
next
This
week.
has been great.
You bet.
Thank you.
Well, we are back in just a few moments. We'll take a look at some of your headlines plus a major trial that is getting underway in Metro Detroit. We'll take a closer look at that as well when we come right back. Welcome back, everybody, to Local 4 Live here at 847. We are getting a live look at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township. That scene there where 4 people died following a deadly attack on Sunday. Flags across the state are being flown at half-staff today following Governor Whitmer's order to honor the victims of that attack. The FBI and ATF will continue to be at that church site to continue its investigation and learn more about the gunman behind the attack. Police say that everyone has been accounted for, that there is no danger to the public. And today, resources are also available at Henry Ford Genesis Health Club and that'll be from now until 8 p.m. tonight for any families that are in need. We are keeping our special section on clickondetroit.com updated with the very latest on this tragedy. It features a story laying out everything that we know so far, making it easy to get all of the information to be up to date all in one place. You find it right there on the homepage. Day 2 of jury selection is underway right now in the case against the men accused of posing as fake DTE workers and killing a man. Prosecutors say that Carlos Hernandez and Joshua Zuazu got into the Farmington Hills home of Hussein Murray last October. That's when it's alleged that the men told the Hamtramck jeweler that they were checking for a gas leak before murdering him in the basement. The men also are accused of tying up Murray's wife, who survived, while she was in the home as well. Once jury selection concludes, we'll be streaming the entire trial on Local 4 Plus and clickondetroit.com. The woman accused of running a forced labor and money laundering scheme across several states, including here in Michigan, is expected in court this afternoon. Michelle Brannon and David Taylor were arrested last month. Both are church leaders accused of exploiting call center workers to launder money. Investigators say that this case will go even deeper, with court documents detailing how workers were denied food and sleep. You can see the full story on clickondetroit.com. The CEO of the Oxford Center is due back in court this afternoon, months after a tragic explosion killed a 5-year-old boy. Tamala Peterson is facing charges of second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter after a hyperbaric chamber at the Troy facility exploded in January. 5-year-old Thomas Cooper was killed inside and his mother was seriously injured. Prosecutors say that Peterson ignored repeated warnings about safety at the center. That hearing is scheduled for 2:30 this afternoon. When we come back here on your Tuesday, a look at your forecast with Ashley. Plus, we're also going to check back in with Nick one more time. He's live in Grand Blanc Township for us this morning with the ongoing police investigation into that deadly church shooting.
Hey everybody, welcome back here to Local 4 Live. I just got an update from some of the investigators here on the scene. They said right now what they are doing is sifting through all of the rubble, trying to look for any evidence that they might find. You're also going to hear some stories throughout the day about the motive, as we discussed, how it looks like now it is definitely a religious-based attack, as the suspect, Thomas Jacob Sanford, told a few people, one in particular being somebody running for city council here, that he believes that Mormons are the Antichrist. Also talking to some of the investigators that are out here, one told me that they have a timeline in mind trying to wrap this up by Friday. That's kind of when they think they're going to be done. He said it could be sooner than that, but no later than Friday, when all this returns back to normal, at least in terms of opening the roads again. There is no normal at this point anymore. The church is destroyed. There is a sense of security that is destroyed, of course, for all the people in this community, and a lot of people also wondering what they're going to want to do in terms of their next church, because this was a pretty big church here for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, kind of wondering where their next service should be held. All of those things will be discussed throughout the day here as the investigation continues. Rhonda?
All right, Nick, thank you. And no doubt there'll be an outpouring of other churches that would just welcome those parishioners with open arms. We are also talking about the weather, which is incredibly beautiful. Dry, so that does make me worry about fall colors, but certainly nice to get out and enjoy.
I know my optimism for the fall colors continues to wane just because so many leaves have already fallen.
I know.
They just turned brown and falling right off the trees. And so, this dry stretch not helping with that. But if you do have plans to be outside, at least you're not dodging the rain. And today, another summer-like day in the forecast. So it's a cool start once again, as we have temperatures on either side of 50. You look off towards Ann Arbor, 48, and that's our only outlying spot within southeastern Michigan that is yet to hit 50. But we are just shy of 60 in Grosse Ile and a couple degrees shy of that in Monroe and at Metro Airport. And so the sunshine will certainly help with that today as far as burning off the fog and rising those temperatures. And so Port Huron, 0-mile visibility, but we're starting to see some improvement up into the Thumb region when it comes to the isolated little pocket of fog we had developed. You can see right below me that our sky camera is showing beautiful blue skies. And so your out the door forecast for this final day of September feels a little more summer-like, and that's very much on theme with how the entire month has been. 80 degrees for the afternoon high, and we hold on to all of that sunshine. And so tomorrow, big dip in temperatures, about 10 degrees cooler, which puts us on par with where we should be to start October, and we'll be pretty seasonal through Thursday before we crank up that heat once again, Friday going into the weekend. So as we look at the month, the calendar here, we're going to tag one more day above average onto the calendar for today, as we likely will get right around 80. But we only had 5 days this month that came in below average, and another handful that were right near average. But the majority of the days this month have been above average when it comes to temperatures. And so that's how the month will go down in the record books. But high temperatures tomorrow, right around 70, but up towards the lake shore and the Thumb region will probably only be in the 60s, a little cooler by the water. So we have sunshine drying today. We're holding on to dry weather. However, a few more clouds mix in Wednesday, and then you start to see mostly cloudy conditions by Thursday. So we're trending cooler, less sunshine. You'll notice the difference. Friday, we're peeling back those clouds, sunshine returns. But as far as our next notable rain chance, well, that's not even until Tuesday. And you can see the latest update here has now pushed that even north come Tuesday morning, and it might be a little bit later before it moves in. So we're still a week out, literally a week out from that event. We could be fine-tuning that, so it's not even a slam dunk that we get that rain on Tuesday. Tracking the tropics, where we have been following two tropical systems, and so now we have Hurricane Imelda, and that has sustained winds at 75 miles per hour pushing east, but it has been interacting with Umberto, that's just to the east of that. And so that one will be pushing to the north and the east as well. So great news for folks that are along the Atlantic seaboard and in Florida. Although they're dealing with the heavy rain and high surf, we don't have direct landfall with those tropical systems. And so we're warming up by the weekend into early next week, where we're back in the 80s.
And it will be October by then.
I know, it's crazy.
Thank you, Ashley. Well, we have something special coming up in our next hour here on Local 4 Live. We are taking you to a special event that's happening over at Michigan Central. Ford Motor Company is focusing on the skilled trades that keep the auto industry running and how to grow that part of our economy. It's also a passion for us here at Local 4. You have probably heard about our Trade Up program that shines a light on the skilled trades and also awards many people that work in skilled trades. Kimberly Gill is moderating today's event over at Michigan Central, and we're going to take you there in just a few moments. So it's 8:56. That'll be at the top of the hour. We'll be right back.
downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Rhonda Walker here on Local 4 Live, and we have a special hour here. We're going to take you to Michigan Central, where an event is taking place that's being hosted by Ford Motor Company, focusing on the businesses that keep America running. Our Kimberly Gill is moderating the panel of experts.
Here, Michigan Central, hopefully all of you will be able to get to see our new headquarters as well in Dearborn. I just want to come by and take a moment to thank all of you for being here. You know, Ford's a big company. I don't think many people understand the issues our country's facing with the essential economy, the shortages, productivity, gaps. We have a lot of work to do. At Ford, we can do a lot of work ourselves. At the Aspen Institute this summer, I think I started realizing about a year ago that we have a major problem and Ford shouldn't just be observing. We need to be helping. So I'm very thankful for your voice because it will matter. So much talk about AI and technology. We need to really get back to our basics and make sure our country is sustainable. To do that, we need a lot more focus on those that most of our society takes for granted. People to build things, fix things, move things. I know I'm preaching to the choir, so I'm not going to spend any time observing the problem with all of you. But I will tell you that it's time for us to get really serious, and Ford's not just going to sit in the background and expect someone else to solve the problem. I'm really thankful, Lexi and Kimberly, for you to host this morning's session, and I hope all of you get a chance to either watch virtually or in person our Accelerate event later today. So I'll leave it to the professionals to take it from here. I'm really looking forward to our day together, all together, to focus on something that maybe is out of the ordinary, but I think we'll all be really proud if we put our shoulder into it.
That's great.
Over to you.
Thank you. Big round of applause for Jim Farley. Jim, we thank you so much for putting the focus on the essential economy and the workers, and that really is what today is about, and the next hour is about. I'd like to say good morning, everybody. I'm Kimberly Gill. Some of you may know me as a journalist and television news anchor for the NBC affiliate WDIV here in Detroit, but I started my career as a member of the essential economy. I paid my way through college driving 18-wheelers for FedEx. And I did that throughout the work week. And on the weekends, I fueled commercial and private airplanes for Eagle Aviation, which if any of you are in the aviation field or know about it, it's the local FBO, which stands for Fixed Based Operations. So it's just like a fancy way of saying a gas station for airplanes. I fueled airplanes on the weekends. And in case you're wondering, I still keep my Class A commercial driver's license current in case my TV gig doesn't work out. Okay? But I want to know more about Lexi Abreu, my co-moderator, who is a commercial electrician, but also a very, very, very big deal on social media. You're known as Lexi Electrician on social media, and you have more than 1.1 million followers on TikTok, 800,000 followers on Instagram. We'll get to that in just a second, but first, how did you decide that you wanted a career as an electrician, Lexi?
So my family is heavily trade dominated. All the men in my family are electricians, mechanics. I went to school initially to be pre-med, and I went through clinicals, worked in a hospital, realized that was like not my career path. So I started an apprenticeship with an independent contractor, and I've been doing electric ever since.
Incredible. So your journey has been really inspiring. What made you decide to go on social media and start putting stuff on there?
So I feel like one of the biggest misconceptions for trades is like you're not getting to see like what actually is entailed in these trade jobs. You're kind of like, oh, that's an electrician, they put up lights, or this mechanic, they fix cars. You're not getting to see like what the day-to-day life is. And so with my social media channels, that was like my biggest thing, is showing you that there are different types of electricians, when kind of giving you a day in the life basis on where you can even move in them.
Do you remember what your first video was?
The first video I posted was a video of me doing a service on a residential home, and it kind of just blew up from there.
It blew up. How has your social media evolved over time? Because how long has it been that you, like when you first started?
I started social media in 2021, so it's been a little bit. Yeah, it took a little bit for it to take off, but initially it was just showing my electrical, and now people kind of want to see what else I do. I started posting my truck restoration videos and things like that as well, so it's kind of gaining a different audience.
So you're restoring trucks too?
Yep.
We can just like give a hand right now for Lexi. Do you get a lot of questions on your social media about your path and your future? Like, what's your biggest challenge, would you say, right now?
My biggest challenge is trying to educate people on like the different routes that you can take to get into the trades. There's so many different ways you can do it. You can go to trade school, you can do an apprenticeship through a union, you can do a non-union based apprenticeship. I think it's just important to try and get like a path, like a set path for people to understand, because I think that's the biggest thing. Nobody knows like where to start.
Yeah. Yeah. What do your coworkers think, and what do your customers think? I know whenever I would go to fuel up the 18-wheeler and I would get out and go pay for it, they'd look at me like, okay, what are you driving? Do you kind of get that, being a woman?
Yeah, initially, like, people would be like, oh, like, you're the electrician. I'm like, yeah, like, this is my job, yeah. Initially, my coworkers were kind of skeptical, but, like, seeing the transition has, like, and showing, like, the hard work, it's come a long way, and I feel like it's made them respect, if anything, more.
Yeah, yeah. What advice would you have for somebody that, like, wanted to do this?
My biggest advice would possibly be just work your hardest at it and find a route that fits you and your personality the best.
Yeah.
And just go for it.
Just go for it. And explore all the other avenues, because as you said,
Right.
there are different ways that you can do it. You can do an apprenticeship. You can go to
Yeah.
trade school.
Yeah.
Just work hard and try to find out as much as you can. Lexi, this is great. Okay, well, I want to get to our audience, and I think we kind of start with the big picture here. The essential economy, that is construction workers who build our homes, the manufacturing industry like the folks at Ford building our cars and transportation, the truck drivers that haul all of our stuff. And there's a disconnect because there are a lot of people out there who maybe want jobs and don't have one. So what can we do? Where do we start? How can America invest in the essential economy? I want to send it over to Maria Flynn, who is president and CEO of Work for the Future. Maria, you want to kick us off?
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Kimberly. Maria Flynn, CEO of Jobs for the Future. We have a big North Star goal, which is that by the year 2033, we want to see 75 million U.S. workers who face systemic barriers to advancement working in quality jobs. And jobs in the essential economy are key to that. And I think there's many things we need to be doing as a country to be promoting these opportunities, but I'll just mention 4 of them quickly. One is we need to be shining a light on high-quality career pathways that don't require 4-year degrees. And so the work that Lexi is doing is a great example of that, and we need more. Second is that we need to invest in high-quality career navigational supports for young people, for adults, for parents, so that they can see what their options are and how to go after those paths. Third is we need more work-based learning and apprenticeship opportunities for all. And then last, we need the federal and state policy supports and funding to scale these efforts. And so a great example is Congress recently passed Workforce Pell, which expands Pell Grant eligibility to cover short-term workforce credentials, which is a great step in the right direction, because for too long, too much of the funding and too much of the attention is only going towards traditional higher ed, and we need to expand that conversation.
Yeah, a lot to think about. Maria, thank you very much. We're also excited to have Daniel Jusko joining us. He's the Vice President of Ford's Customer Service Division. And Dan, I'm sure you're thinking about these issues every single day.
Oh, absolutely. Look, hi everyone.
Hi.
My part of the world where we're really caring for customers and their uptime and their vehicles running properly. A big challenge is auto technicians. And you all know there's a shortage in the industry. So there's a lot of energy that goes into what Ford can do and what we've been doing. And just quickly how we think about this. First, developing professionals into trades, and one big challenge is always making sure we offer the proper career path. But we allow them to get through that debt-free. So they're not starting their career behind, and there's a lot of programs that we have today and more that we can do. But areas that we don't talk too much is their journey when they're working at our dealers. How do we make it very effective? How can we help them be very productive? And I was just talking with one of our great dealers earlier. The more we can make that journey great and productive, the higher the retention. Because what we have today is techs that go through a lot of training and they don't like the job and they move on to something else. So retention is as big as development. So it's a really big topic. It's one that the way we think is the more we care about the technicians at our dealers, the more we're caring about our customers. Because these are the guys that are actually making sure the commercial vehicles are moving and being productive, and our families that own our vehicles, they're not stuck without their products. So really, really, really big deal for us.
Yeah,
thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Daniel, thank you. All right, we've got Lexi in our audience, and Lexi, you've got our next question. Go ahead.
This is A.K. Bennett, and is a principal at Bankari, a plumbing, water conservation, and vac contractor. They also did a lot of the plumbing here at Michigan Central and New Lab, the building we are all in right now. A.K., what's your question?
So my question is about perception. I think many people think about the skilled trades as traditionally blue collar, in the field, and that's great, but there are pathways in industries to positions that require a combination of hard skills, soft skills, technical knowledge. For many of us that work in the industry, in construction and other trades, you oversee crews of 10, 20, 100 people, millions of dollar budgets. They're basically business in of themselves, and they require a lot of varying skills and experience. I've got a master's degree in construction engineering management as an example. How do you show people that there's a value in both vocational education and higher education? Because in my opinion, you need both for a successful career.
Yeah, what a great question. And I'd love to hear from Russ Cavalluna, President, Western Michigan University, formerly president of Henry Ford College as well. Go ahead.
Thanks, Kimberly. And I should say, I worked at an FBO when I was in college.
So you know what that is.
Yeah,
I knew somebody would know.
I fueled airplanes.
Okay.
I did not drive trucks.
It's okay.
But I did go to Western Michigan and learn how to fly airplanes.
That's really cool.
And I've kept my pilot's license in case the president's job doesn't work out.
Doesn't come through. Always got to have a backup plan, folks.
So to answer this question, there's a false dichotomy here that there's a path of jobs that require less than 4-year degrees or less than 2-year degrees or certificates, and then there's the 4-year degree path. The reality is what the question the leader just said. He's leading teams that have people who have matriculated through various stages of education. And frankly, what they're starting to do today that we didn't really have to do 50 years ago was become very adaptable. They have to have the skills to get through challenges and learn how to work in teams that are up the chain and down the chain of salary and qualifications. And at Western Michigan University, one way we're trying to do that is something we're calling place-based investments. What we're having here in this state right now is baby boomer-owned businesses are aging out of their leadership, and they're starting to think about selling those businesses. And if we don't protect those businesses in Michigan right now, they will be bought by people from outside of our state and run from outside of our state. And so what Western Michigan University has done at its College of Business is raise over $100 million in private equity from local investors to purchase these businesses. And we just purchased one in Portland, which is a small town between Grand Rapids and Lansing. It's a stamping plant, 100 jobs in Portland, Michigan, that are building stamps for auto industry to support Ford Motor Company and this other company that starts with a T that's not in Michigan. The reality is that plant employs all of the jobs that we just talked about, from C-suite down to blue-collar jobs. And if we don't invest in those types of jobs through universities, which is what we're doing uniquely, then those jobs are going to go away, and they're essential economy jobs because, as you and I experienced in those FBOs, entry-level jobs like those help us build the economy. And so what we've done is take undergraduate business students, help them run those businesses in real time, and we've given money to local entrepreneurs to buy those companies. That's place-based investment that helps our economy, and it starts to show what you and I know from this event, which is if a 4th or 5th or 6th grader wants to be an electrician, they need a path to the local community college. If they want to be a surgeon or a school teacher, they need a path to the local university. And frankly, we just don't talk about that enough, that path that can exist with all of them. I'm in my 3rd career, and that's what Michiganders can do. So, Kimberly, if you want to be back at the FBO and fuel an airplane, that's where we started, but we made it all right.
No, this is great, great. Thank you so much, Russ. And I omitted that Russ is also a former federal prosecutor as well. So, as he said, on his 3rd job. All right, let's see. I wonder if, let's see, Shelley Travis, Skills USA Executive Director, would you like to weigh in here as a major, there you are, a major workforce organization for students, Shelley?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Shelley Travis. I'm the Executive Director of Skills USA. We serve over 444,000 students and teachers nationwide in skilled trades, ranging from 3D animation and design to welding and everything literally in between. We are the #1 workforce development organization for students. And one thing that we see is actually that we have a visibility and a perception problem. And we really do need to come to where students are. As you've said, these careers fuel our economy, they build our communities, and we actually know that these careers are high skill, high wage, high demand. They offer not only a job, but a family-sustaining career, advancement opportunities that are available to students as well. We know that not only do students need those technical skills, but what we need, as Maria was mentioning, was work-based learning. And through that, our students also are receiving the personal and the workplace skills that they need, the very skills that our employers demand are the skills that we need to run the essential economy. And we need to be coming to where our students are. They need to be able to see themselves in these careers. That's what I loved about what Lexi was saying and what she's doing with all of the followers. We need to be lifting up their stories. These are not careers of second choice or fallback. These are students' first choices of family-sustaining careers and earning wages, and we need to celebrate those and honor those and act as though these are our students' first choice and a choice that is going to move our economy and the future workforce of our nation forward. Without these students, we will not have our essential economy. And we need to not only fund those, we see that we are lacking in funding. We are actually one of the nations, one of the economies in the nation that funds it the least. We have seen Perkins funding actually not only be only level funded for the last several years, but that is actually a decrease in the funding that we see. So we need to not only fund those, but also have the instructors. And without those instructors, those skilled instructors, we will not be able to have the skilled career. So we need to invest in the programs as well as the instructors as well.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, beautifully said. Thank you. All right, Lexi, who do you have for us next?
I'm here with DevX co-founder Michael Stone. He served as an Albert Einstein Distinguished Educator Fellow at the National Science Foundation and the Digital Fabrication Education Director in Chattanooga, Tennessee. What's your question?
I've spent the last 20 years working in public and private school education, K-12, and over the last decade had an opportunity to open over 120 digital fabrication labs, fab labs, in schools. It's the largest network in the world of MIT registered fab labs. In fact, we're partly here today because of the Ford Future Builders Labs. We're opening another 15 with Ford, and that's a wonderful opportunity. We're very excited about that and what it's going to do for students here in Michigan, what it's doing for students in West Tennessee, and hopefully across the country. As we think about the essential economy, the digital fab labs, these fabrication labs that we're bringing to students, certainly focus on technical skills. But as we look in skill and trade, there's a lot of technical and hard skill development. There's been a lot of focus and infrastructure built around that. We just heard from the previous speaker. Curious about what soft skills should we be making sure that we're also empowering students to use that seem to be ubiquitous across industry, whether skill, trade, or anything else?
Yeah, great question. Let's go to Alicia Merriweather. She's the Deputy Superintendent in Partnership of Innovation for Detroit Public Schools Community District. Alicia. Yeah.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm a former teacher, so I need a little better than that. Good morning, everyone.
There you go. Let's hype them up.
All right. So I want to piggyback on a couple of things. So first of all, when we talk about going to where the students are, that would be the school system. And so I think one of the things that's really, really important is how we're connecting to K-12 education. Obviously, young people matriculate from kindergarten through 12th grade, and if we as a school system are not connecting students to career pathways, helping them see what's possible, then we are not doing our job. And what we've done in Detroit Public Schools Community District is create career pathways, career academies, connecting with work-based learning, connecting with community colleges, bless you, and looking at how we also connect young people to dual enrollment and seeing that both technical skills and soft skills are equally important. I think there's a saying out there that says technical skills get you hired, soft skills get you fired. No, that technical skills get you hired. They get you in the door, but if you do not have the soft skills, you will not last very long. And so the combination of technical skills and soft skills, I kind of push back a little bit on calling it soft skills, because if it can get you fired, it's not that soft. So let's think about how we're building both of those skill sets in young people. And so in the district, of course, we're working with work-based learning, apprenticeships, and also the GDYT program here in Detroit. Many of you support that and know about it. Grow Detroit's Young Talent. There are components around job readiness that are built into GDYT. There are components around job readiness that are built into our work with students. So when you think about, and I think we have some students from Western, raise your hands. Where are my Western students? My cowboys and cowgirls. There you are. Let's give them a hand. So Western International High School is not far from here. So young people from Detroit Public Schools, Western High School, thank you so much for being here. This is all about you, really, because the next generation is right here. And thinking about what's happening at Western, what's happening at our high schools, but also middle school, elementary school, and really around exposure, right? Exposure, you cannot, if you don't see it, you don't know it exists. So we're really thinking about how we can build all the way back to elementary and middle school for exposure opportunities, awareness opportunities, and then as students progress, they really should be connecting with the workforce. They really should see careers, but they should also experience it. And how do we make that a well-rounded experience? We cannot do that by ourselves, by the way. We're a K-12 institution. We need industry. We need partners in the workforce to help us do this work. And so we are committed, and we've got great partners here in Detroit, but there's still a lot of work to do. So definitely open to additional partnerships and conversation and thinking about how this is a glide path from the K-12 system into the workforce.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. I think another big piece of this could be mentorship, and I know that's something that Daniel Porterfield, President and CEO of the Aspen Institute, has literally written a book about. So Dan, would you like to weigh in here?
Sure, and thank you, Kimberly. And let me say big thanks to Ford and to Jim Farley for leading this effort on the essential economy. It's a very big idea, beautifully framed. Every company and every person is essential to our country. I love the way that Jim and the Ford team have called this question. It really integrates the expertise and experience of so many people, including our young people. Ford's leadership in this is really impressive, and it's something that we at the Aspen Institute, which is a nonprofit organization that tries to bring people together to drive change, encourages private companies to do, to lead, to build a functioning economy, a working society, to help us reduce polarization and make sure that our country is always investing in our people and our global competitiveness, and Ford is leading the way. So that's one thing. And then secondly, here today from Aspen also are two colleagues I think you'll get to meet during the course of the day. Kaya Henderson is here. She's our Executive Vice President who leads all of our work to ignite the potential and possibility in young people across everything we do. She's the former chancellor of the Washington, D.C. Public Schools, and she knows so much about this topic. And Kaya, thank you for being here. And then I don't see her, but Ida Rademacher is here, and Ida leads our work on building inclusive economies. And inclusive economies require investment strategies in talent, in young people at all stages of their learning, so that the country can benefit from economically from a sort of people-first approach to preparing the workforce. On the question, though, that you asked then about mentorship, which is one way that young people learn, not the only way. They learn through training, they learn through formal education programs, they learn through sponsorship and through apprenticeships. The key to mentorship is that a young person believes that another person has experiences and knowledge that can be passed down person to person, hands-on. Not sometimes about how to do the work, but sometimes about the person themselves and what they are, how they are growing and learning. A mentor is somebody who invests in the person and in the person's ability to do the thing that they are hoping to be able to do. But it's a double investment, not just the skills, but in the human herself or himself. And the essential economy will require mentorship because of this. Our economy is changing at exponential rate right now. There's never been a time when the economy hasn't changed as fast as it is right now. And what happens when you're a person, a citizen, and a worker in a rapidly changing economy is either you believe you have the capacity to keep up with change, to adapt to change, as Russ said, to drive change, or you believe that change will sweep over you like a tide and you and your business will go under. And that's what leads to resentment and frustration and despair even. Mentorship is one of the ways that we facilitate lifelong learning and growth. And every single person in the essential economy needs, as was said earlier, needs to be able to be on a growth trajectory so that she or he can continue to develop their skills and knowledge as the world changes. And that is an extra level of, if you will, opportunity and complexity for us as a society. And I do believe it really starts with young people and our abilities, as you described, to provide learning experience that cultivate growth mindsets in young people, not only learning skills and content, but actually believing that you yourself are a learner and can drive your own development. And mentors play a big role in that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. All right, Lexi, who has our next question for the audience?
This is Ashley Iovino, Business Services Manager for Michigan Works Southwest at WE Upjohn Institute.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for hosting this event this morning, and thank you for taking my question. I'd like to talk specifically about apprenticeships, including how the current federal government seems to be putting a focus on apprenticeships. So how can we take advantage of that? But also, how does Ford prioritize apprenticeships?
Okay, great question. Daniel, I'll go to you for that one.
That's a great topic. When I think about that matter, I think about our job in reducing barriers of entry. That's all that is about. I'm originally from Brazil, and I'm used to, as many of you here face the same, lots of time you have to work to take you through studying. And the way I see our most successful programs working is we allow the flexibility of students to work their way through their education. And one program that we have called Asset allows, in partnership with our great dealers across the nation and colleges, they're built on the flexibility that the student has their study time, and then they work on our dealerships and they learn. And through that combination, they can work their way through graduating, leaving the program with a job without any debt. Back in Brazil at 20% interest rates, you get some debt, you're done. So I think the more we as companies can support those models where We allow students to work and make money and pay for their tuition. And colleges are flexible. And we were just, Dan and I were just talking earlier, she's studying, but it overlaps completely with dealership timing, so it's so difficult to find the time to do both. And what happens in many families, when you have to choose between helping support your family and study, you end up choosing dropping your own development. So I think it's a challenge for us as the education system and companies to build those models that can help kids get through their education debt-free. So we want to continue expanding it. We have partnerships with 41 colleges across the country. We have early programs that help students to understand what is it to be an auto tech. So I think continue focusing on building together that flywheel. It's very powerful.
Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah.
I'll just say during my time at FedEx, FedEx was a great company when I worked there back in the 1900s. I won't say when that was. But they gave a tuition reimbursement. Now, I still had to have some loans, but that is a big help, you know, when you're weighing with, okay, how am I going to pay for things? And as long as you kept a C average, you know, they paid a certain amount of my college tuition. And so that's a really big thing.
Yeah, one thing that we're also continue to explore is auto techs, they need tools. So we're trying to also offer as much as we can the support for them to start their career with great tools so they can start their job immediately after graduating. So yeah, really important that we all engage into building that flexibility.
All right, Dan, thank you. Maria, let's, why don't you, do you want to pick up from there?
Pick up on the point around the current administration's focus on apprenticeships. So this actually is a continuation of really strong bipartisan support that we have seen at the federal level, really dating back to President Clinton and every administration since then. There's currently an executive order that's been signed that really sets out a goal to get to 1 million apprentices in the U.S. And then over the next couple of years. So I think we have an opportunity to really see how can we strengthen connections between registered apprenticeship programs, 2- and 4-year colleges, the public workforce system, to really make it an integrated part of pathways that are available in regional economies. And we also need to really look at how can we get more federal and state funding put behind these efforts, include, you know, in addition to the great work that Ford and other companies are putting in directly. We need to kind of all be playing a role in the expansion of these opportunities.
Yeah, very good. Okay, Maria, thank you. Who's next from the audience?
This is Michael Bell. He's an instructor at Henry Ford College.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I spent the summer instructing Ford Motor Company skilled trade employees on instrumenting test vehicles. So my question is, how do you see the implementation of AI and its impact on skilled trade workers?
Okay, excellent question. I knew we would get there at some point. Let's go to Society of Manufacturing Engineers, SME CEO Janine Kuntz. Hey.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Kimberly. And yes, I am Janine Kuntz. I am the CEO of SME, the Society of Manufacturing Engineers. We are a nonprofit that's been in existence for almost 100 years. We are national, but we are born and raised in Michigan, down in Dearborn, now in Southfield. Very proud of that. So it's good to be home. Interestingly, the name Society of Manufacturing Engineers, though we don't go by anymore, we go by SME. And why is that? Because engineering is bigger than just the engineers. It requires those that make things. We need those that are on the floor doing the machining, doing the welding, doing the maintenance, doing the robotics. All the things that go into manufacturing are much bigger than engineers. So we grew our view of what our role was as a nonprofit to be all things manufacturing. And we focus on driving technology as well as capabilities of people to use that technology. So to the great question around artificial intelligence, I will tell you, after 25 years of being at SME, I used to get the phone calls about robotics. Are robots taking over our people? And the answer is no. And now the question is AI taking over our people? And the answer again is no. The reality is the power for our country, the power for our community, and the power for our companies is how do we leverage both people and technology? Trying to act like technology doesn't exist doesn't do good for us. Blockbuster could tell you their story, right? We don't want to be Blockbuster. We have to accept that technology is here, and how do we create the power of those two combined? When we think about our skilled trades in particular, it's really interesting because they're one of the hardest jobs to automate or to eliminate using artificial intelligence. The machinist will tell you they can hear things, they can feel things, they can smell it. They have it's like a black art of how they do their jobs. That's very difficult for artificial intelligence to learn. However, there are things that artificial intelligence can do to empower that machinist, that welder. There's things that they can inspect on the line that help create safety or quality issues from being prevented. So this topic of artificial intelligence we hear a lot about. I think we all know it's not going away. It is creating complexity and disruption, but disruption is good. And I believe that we will find that our skilled workers will be empowered to do things differently. And just like with robotics, in some cases it will remove tasks, but it creates new jobs, or it creates new ways of that individual getting into more complex and sometimes often growing in their career. We see these great examples where individuals are able to expand and grow because of the complexity that we're able to create at higher levels within job roles that technology provides. So that is the concept that we really believe in, is the combination of technology and talent and people, and how those two powers come together to enforce great advancements, productivity, efficiencies, and safety for organizations. I do want to do a shout out, just like you to Ford. As somebody who's been in this industry for 25 years, I will tell you, when I saw the Times article and Jim Farley was taking a stand as an executive for the industry of manufacturing, is a very significant moment. Mm-hmm. It is not only a significant moment to our nation, our people, and other companies, but to this entire country around the essential economy. I loved the term, by the way, and I love essential skills instead of soft skills. They both go together. And I just want to thank Ford for that, for this day, and taking a leadership role, and I hope many others will follow. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Janine. Dan, you want to come up and give some thoughts too? AI?
Look, maybe a practical example, right? We talked about technicians being very productive, and you look at younger technicians, they have to navigate through so much literature. We have software diagnostic challenges, electrical, and we look at the level of hours that a young technician can charge versus a trained technician. AI is coming to help fill that gap. So right now, we're enabling AI to help younger technicians not to have to go through thousands of publications. And the worst part, and the part they hate the most, because what they want to do is fix vehicles, is the paperwork that follows, right? It's always there. AI can automate all that. So I think it's going to be a great partner for us to enable our workers to just be more productive. Yeah. And it's already here, and it's very, very useful in some cases.
Yeah, and it's moving along fast, too. Yeah, okay. Dan, thank you. Lexi's got our next question from the audience.
This is Justin Winters, a builder and building and trades teacher at Lakeshore High School, St. Clair Shores, Michigan.
How's it going? And thanks for having me here today. So one of the biggest premises I think I see as a teacher is trade schools are looked upon as a plan B if college doesn't work out. And how do we change that as teachers and influencers of the next generation?
Yeah, great question. I'll call on Shelley Travis for this one.
Absolutely. Well, like I mentioned before, one of those things in visibility is actually we need to recognize skilled trades as a nation, and I think Ford is doing a great job here as a first choice. It is not a fallback option, and I think being involved in elevating work like Ford is doing with what Skills USA does, and really elevating the students and their success and showing that we celebrate and we honor their first choice. For example, one of the things that Ford is doing that I'm so thankful for is removing the barrier of access. For 7 of our states, for all of the training, the curriculum, and the programming that Skills USA offers. For example, Skills USA Signing Day is a national day where we celebrate a student's first choice for a skilled career, whether that is to go into an apprenticeship program or that is to go directly into the workforce or to a technical school. But we are celebrating that alongside their families, their employers, whether that's a union or another employer like Ford here, and showing the nation that we honor, that we value, that we are committed to these students. Also in celebrating their success, such as in our National Leadership and Skills Conference, where students actually participate in a local, then regional, state, and then ultimately the national, where we celebrate and we honor those gold medalists and silver and bronze for their skills, for being the best at their profession, and we show that there is true value in that. And one thing that Ford is helping us do is to ensure that every student that wants those opportunities, that they are going to make an investment in those, because not only do we build confidence, but we show that we value, and we help students really hone their passion and their skills. So I think one of the things that we can do is that we can celebrate. It is right now, career and technical education and skilled trades is on the top of not only every headline, every news feed that I see, is the gap that we have, but it's the top of the policy agenda. So I'm so thankful for partners like Ford, because our time is now to really capitalize on this wave. We've got to not only talk about the skills gap that we are facing in America, 2.1 million needed in manufacturing, 500,000 needed in construction, but we need to be telling the stories of the success so that our students, our future workforce can see that, just like Lexi is doing, so that they can see themselves in these skilled careers and in the future workforce. They can see and be excited that their passion and their skill truly are valued by America, and they are the future of our nation's workforce.
That's great. That's great. Lexi, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I would just like to say that I think that the most proactive thing that we could possibly do is encourage and make it known that trades are an acceptable path.
Yeah.
When I was in school, that wasn't like a normal thing. Everybody was like, what college are you going to? Like, what are you going to be? Like, it was always this pathway to college, which is great. It's for a lot of people, but I think it's important to encourage a second route with trades and, essential economy work.
Yeah, yeah. Anybody else want to weigh in on that? Yeah. Lexi, you can go ahead with the next question, I think.
Next, we have Jillian Lowler. She started her career as a welder and is now senior fabricator at Rouge Automotive.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I kind of want to add to the last conversation. So, Lexi, I envy your story because my story is around the same. I was going to Central Michigan University, and it just was not working out. So I came home. I was like, you know what? I need to figure out something different. And it was very hard for me to find out how to get into the trade, how to find a pathway. So my question is, how can we help the younger generation for not really to have to find the trades, but the trades to find them,
Great.
How could we make that happen?
Great question. Janine, you want to tackle that one?
Sure. Yeah, happy to. And I want to jump in real fast for Shelley and your other question. I got a chance to do a focus group at Skills USA many years ago when I was our workforce development officer, and sat with the students in a machining competition. And I was asking them about, because I was really curious, okay, how did you get here? What drove you? And a lot of people talked about their parents, but what I didn't expect them to say to me was how they were discouraged by some, right? And sometimes, unfortunately, their career counselors were discouraging them because they were telling them that the four-year path was the way to go. But those young men and women joked with me that they were happy to not have their debt and have their boat, and they were telling their friends that were trying to pay off their education. That's not to say that a four-year degree, as someone who got that, all paths make a difference. So to the question of women and entering the pathway and how do we have people come find you, how do we have skilled trades find you, I think we need to show and demonstrate diversity as well. Even sometimes we work with employers and we say, if you're looking for people, look at how the images that you even use in your postings. If it's all men, you're not going to necessarily have women see themselves in those career pathways, I think is one. We also talk a lot, we would do a lot of work with employers, and we tell them the system, the education system, the workforce system can do all of their work to bring them to your door. It's your job to ensure that when they come in, that you can attract them, hire them, and most importantly, retain them. A young woman once told me she went into a job and she was going to put her safety equipment on and her gloves and the things that she needed to do her job, but there wasn't any women's sizes. It was when, so she felt really kind of awkward. And in that moment, I think she felt she wasn't belonging there. So I think there's a lot of things not only upfront, but once you hire, that you've thought through the kind of diversity that you're seeking. And certainly we all know diversity of thought, diversity within our workforce, not just in gender, but in all aspects of our nation. Our workforce inside of, I'll say, manufacturing needs to be reflective of our nation's people. That's the reality. The other thing, if I really quickly said, I think there's a lot we can be doing that organizations, if we were all joking a little bit earlier about if anyone has seen We Build Giants campaign, raise your hands, anyone? Okay, not a lot of you. Okay, it was on the Super Bowl. It's been in March Madness. It is NASCAR, but We Build Giants is all around buildsubmarines.com, and it's an initiative that's supported by the Navy because they're trying to bring out the awareness to skilled trades to support the development and building and construction of not only our surface ships, but also our submarines, because it's a critical part of our nation's national security. And when you think about that and the reliance on skilled trades to make sure that we are a nation that is protected and secure, our skilled trades are number one in that. And that is something that nationally, I would say we could look at how buildsubmarines.com and We Build Giants campaign kind of took on that we got milk type, campaigning, and it does really require that kind of national attention to really bring the skilled trades to the people, not just the people go find it. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Lexi, our next question.
Next is Melissa Bradley, the founder and CEO of New Majority Ventures, a firm committed to supporting founders to become CEOs and generate $100 million of economic growth in America's communities.
Good morning and congratulations to Ford. This is amazing. As a parent of 6 kids, I want to know, where have you all been all my life? But also, what is it with all these programs? What advice do you give to students on their professional career on how to pick which program? Is it job training? Is it apprenticeship? Is it resume matching? There's a lot of choices. How do you guide them in the right direction?
That is a great, great question. Let's start with the person that gets the students at the youngest age. Alicia, why don't you tackle that one?
All right, such a good question. And first of all, congratulations on 6 kids and
I know, right?
being here this morning with good energy. So I think, when you're thinking about working with young people, it is really important about exposure, around awareness, around interaction with people who do things that maybe you've never seen, right? So as a school system, what we try to do, there's the old school career day. How many of you went to a career day, had people come? Yes.
Yeah.
And we still do that, but we also really think it's important for young people to get into spaces to see work. And I think that is really what needs to happen even more. But again, I'll go back to my previous point. The school system runs the schools. We don't run industry. So we need hosts. We need people who are willing to allow young people to come in and see the work in action. And we also need people who are willing to mentor. Someone talked about this earlier. What I usually talk about with young people, when you're making choices, having a mentor who actually does what you want to do is important. Having a mentor who lives life like you want to live is also important. And sometimes those are 2 different people. Seriously, if you're fortunate, it's the same person. But sometimes you need 2 different kinds of mentors. One who knows the work, knows the craft, knows the technical skills, and can show you the ropes about how you navigate college or how you navigate additional schooling. And there may be another person who actually, you like the way that they live their life. You like the way that they treat people. You like the way that they spend their leisure time. Those could be two different people. And I think that for young people, and I'm going to speak to you again, finding someone who does what you want to do is important because they can teach you things about how to walk that road. Finding someone who lives life the way that your values resonate is also important. And so those people, in terms of teachers, counselors, mentors in and out of school, in and out of formal education, it matters. And so for everyone in the room, I would say to you, are you one of those mentors? Are you someone who is either showing somebody else technical skills and how to learn things, or are you someone who's actually investing in a young person in terms of how to live life? And if you're not doing either of those, I would encourage you to consider stepping in somewhere to be a mentor. And honestly, what I've learned about working with kids for over 30 years now is what kids care most about is that you care about them.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you can come up with a million excuses about why you can't, why you shouldn't, why it won't work, why you won't connect. You know, we grew up different. Kids care most about, do you care about them? And at the end of the day, if you have a few minutes that you can invest in a young person, I always say investing in a human being is never a waste. But investing in a young person gives dividends for generations. And it doesn't take a whole lot, to be honest. And you can change the trajectory of this city and of this state. You know, DPSCD's logo is students rise, we all rise. And at the end of the day, what we're talking about here is when young people rise, when they make choices, when they pursue careers, we all rise. The city rises, the state rises, this country rises, and this world rises. And so I just think having more people connect with young people, whether it's the technical skills or the navigating life skills, it's going to make a difference. And obviously our career pathways, our career academies also are intentional, right? So we have built out at our 23 high schools, we have career academies. Sean Hill is somewhere in the audience who's done a lot of work in that space. And in the next year, I'll plant this seed. The district will be announcing our high school redesign, which is really about changing the way high school works for kids. And high level, we're looking at trying to get young people out of brick and mortar buildings by the time they're juniors and seniors in high school, and figuring out, are they in an apprenticeship? Are they at a college or a university? Are they actually working alongside people? So stay tuned. It launches next fall. There's more information coming on that.
Thank you so much, Alicia. Big round of applause. What a great discussion this has been. I want to thank everybody who participated. Daniel Porterfield, Maria Flynn, Shelley Travis, Janine Kuntz, Russ Cavaluna, Alicia Merriweather, and Daniel Justo. Thank you so much. Daniel, would you join me on stage? Lexi, you come up here too. We have something very special, an announcement that we'd like to do to close our program very quickly. Want to make sure we get you out of here on time. At Local 4, we are passionate about a program we have called Trade Up. It's in partnership with Detroit's own Carhartt, and we started this program with Carhartt because we recognize the disparity between open jobs in trade fields and those considering a career in trade work. So for months now, we have been shining a light on opportunities in trade work, showing the success of careers in trade and helping bridge the gap in this essential economy. I love the way we're saying that now, essential economy. And also once a month, we recognize individuals who excel in their respective trade and are an example of what one can accomplish through this work. And we call it the Ace of Trade Awards. And today, we're going to honor our September Ace of Trades Award recipient right here at this town hall. So, for 21 years, I will go ahead and start with the person that we're going to recognize. For 21 years, he has worked for Pat Milliken Ford in Redford, but he has served as a Ford technician for more than 40 years and is now one of Ford's lead performance vehicle technicians working on Ford GTs, Ford Mustang GTDs, and other Ford performance vehicles. Please welcome to the stage our September Ace of Trades recipient, Ford Senior Master Auto Technician, Joe Sicoli. Joe, come on up here. Also, come up here, Joe. Thank you. Coming up with Joe are Brian Godfrey, President of Milliken Ford. Come on up, guys. Peter Battle, General Manager of Customer Service at Milliken, and Thomas Neely. Come on, let's get in front here. Will you hold this? And Thomas, you were actually mentored by Joe. Come on up here, guys. Good morning to all of you.
Morning.
And let's start with the hardware. Joe, on behalf of Carhartt and Local 4, we would like to present you with the September Ace of Trades recognition for dedication to your craft as a master auto technician. Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. What made you want to get into this line of work, and why have you continued it for 40 years?
Oh, I've always had a passion for it, and it all started with working in the garage with my father, and that's how it started out. So.
That's great. What's your message to those in this room about the trades, would you say, and the essential economy, and you know, just the gap there is that exists in
If it's something
trades?
you're passionate about, just go for it. We just need to find the right avenue for the up-and-coming young people, like you guys have talked about today. And I'm very, very supportive of that.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of young people, Thomas, I'll talk with you. How's it been to be mentored by Joe?
It's actually pretty cool because he has been doing it for so long. Kind of like with Lexi, I watch videos to learn how to work on cars. But because he's been doing it so long, there's probably about 10% of knowledge he's keeping to himself. So it's very nice to learn that from him. But it's very interesting and it's fun. And he said, I'll be like, hey, I got a problem. He'll come over. He's like, all right, go. And then I'm like, wow, that doesn't make any sense. But he's been doing it for so long, and that's a nice thing of learning because I can't possibly learn that in class or without going on the field and doing hands-on work with him. So it's pretty cool.
Really awesome. Peter, what can you say about Joe?
Well, Joe's been very instrumental in really helping us change the culture in the shop. When he came into our store 21 years ago and joined the Pat Milliken Ford family, the feeling wasn't, how can I pass it down to the next generation? And that really has changed. So Thomas is only one of a number of people who are learning from the other technicians. I'd also like to mention that Joe has one other trainee currently, but he is in the asset program, so he's in school this morning and couldn't be with us. So that whole point of all the different paths you can take and how do we tear down the barriers to get people into the business.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Brian, as the president of Milliken Ford, just talk about your workers here who are the heart of your customers and customer service and their connection to your customers.
Yeah, but I'm so proud of what our technicians do. The reality is they do a job that I'm not capable of doing, and yet our customers require. Doesn't matter how many cars we sell, if we can't service them, we don't have a business anymore. So, you know, these guys spend a lot of time learning and refining their craft, and they do it to take care of our customers. So it's a team effort, and I'm really proud of them.
That's great. Another big round of applause to Joe. Congratulations to you. And before we go, I understand that we do have some other Ace of Trade Award recipients in the audience. If you would please stand up and just be recognized if you're here. Thank you. Thank you. And would all of the essential economy workers, current and former, please stand and just be recognized for all your hard work. I'm already standing. Stand up if you were a member of the skilled trades. I'd like to thank Ford for organizing today's town hall, and thank you all for being here this morning. Congratulations once again, Joe, and everyone. Enjoy if you're attending other events at Ford Pro Accelerate today. Thank you for being here. This was great.
Well, and before everyone leaves, I just want to.
Oh my goodness! Oh, I know. I'm so sorry.
No,
nice
I just
to see
wanted
you.
to jump in.
Everybody, Mary Culler.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Culler. I'm the president of Ford Philanthropy, and I just wanted to welcome you, but also I just wanted to thank you, Kimberly, by leading by example. There was no better person to come and host this event because really your story is incredible, and Lexi, yours as well. It was really exciting to see that. So thank you so much. I just also wanted to thank all of you. I see so many of our partners in the audience. I also thought it was very fitting that we're doing this town hall at Michigan Central. For those of you who know the story of Michigan Central, none of this could have happened without the skilled trades. The complexity of what happened here at the station and here is incredible, and I've always been in awe of the construction workers and others that brought this back to life. So I want to thank them. And what I'd love to do now is to invite you, if you've got time, to come over to the station. We're going to have a day of panels. I know some of you have other commitments, but if you've got time, you're welcome to come over. please wear your name badge because that will get you in to the station. And please come and join us and have a wonderful day, and thank you so much.
I just wanted to invite them over.